Hey there. Good morning, everyone. This is the State Building Code Council Legislative Committee for February 22nd, 2024. Could we please take roll?
Yes. Todd Byruther,
Here.
Damon Doyle, Carol Anderson, Jay Arnold,
Here.
Micah Chappell, Tom Handy,
Here.
Matthew Hepner, Representative Alex Rummel, and Roger Haringa.
It looks like we don't have a quorum, and I want to apologize.
I'm here. I was here
Okay.
after my name was called. This is Chell.
Morning, Joe. We
I
sent
think we're
you
good.
the link too late, just this morning. Didn't coordinate well. It's
No, that's
the fault
okay.
is
We know.
on my part.
I appreciate that, but we know where to find it. So, but thank you for that. So, okay, and thank you, Rosanna. I think we have quorum then, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So we had Roger Heringa here, and because we added him, the council actually added him at the last meeting, but we won't count him as part of the quorum because he will take over after we're done with this legislation.
Oh, that's right. Is that how we took that action, that we were gonna get through session as is, and then Tom, I think you were stepping up. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
He got promoted.
Okay.
It's double.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. So let's anyone else from the public? I see Andrew to be recognized. If not, we'll count that. Okay. We're going to approve the current agenda. Can we hear a motion to approve, please?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So approved. Review and approve the minutes. Do we have minutes?
We don't have the minutes for this
Okay.
meeting. We'll have the minutes for 2 meetings the next time.
Okay, no worries. We'll skip that and ready to list of update. Stoyan, do you wanna start?
Yes.
Or would you like me? Thank you.
Let me show the cutoff calendar first. So 21st, the cutoff date was 21st, last day to read in committee reports from opposing house. I will have the report, life and death bills later today, so I will send you everything. Typically, we need a day or so to prepare that. And then I'm moving to the list of bills that are high priority with us, and I'll let Todd, do you want to talk or?
It's fine. I'm sorry, I was March 1st is the fiscal cutoff, right? What's the committee cutoff? Have we hit that already?
Let me show it again.
My apologies, I just wasn't paying attention. Last day in committees from opposite house is the 21st, right? So that was, yeah, that we hit that already.
It was, we did yesterday.
Okay.
And the next one is on 26.
Oh, the fiscal is 26, and then got it. Okay. March 1st is on the floor. Okay, thank you.
So these
go
are the
ahead,
bills of
Shane.
high priority. I'm ready to show you whatever you want me to show. And
Well, let's talk briefly about since the council took action on 6120. I can quickly summarize, and then, as you remember, I was nominated to go. So, and thank you, Stoyan and Micah, for help and Damon for help on that. So I did testify, try to keep it very straightforward that we're separating out support by the council for obviously the mapping exercises. That's critical. But then, raise the concern that we discussed in council on getting clear legislative intent on whether the legislature intends to do amendments by policy making into the RCWs or via the rulemaking process. And that's really been it for everyone who's still getting up to speed on the 2018 legislation. That's an example where the legislature took the ability, their power to put code making directly into an RCW. And so that was really the question: is that the intent moving forward also on pushing to adopt this model code or sections of the model code without the ability to amend? So that was the basis, and there was a minute to do that, and so really it was short, and there was some discussion later, and a striking amendment that was eventually withdrawn. But I think the concern was raised with that committee. So, and I haven't heard anything since then. They took action on yesterday.
Yeah,
and did move it through as is.
We sent amendments. The chair of the committee proposed amendments as a striker, and during the hearing, and later she withdrew the striker. And one reason is that the amendments we proposed, they contained not only changes to the bill, but also changes from 2018. So the council opposition on this bill is not only this bill, it's the principle of adopting technical language in the law and striping the council's authority. But again, it started in 2018, the previous bill, and now it continues. And Jay, I see your hand, but just to finish this, what I learned from this, I was under fire all day with this 6120, but what I learned, the sponsor of the bill wasn't happy with the council because we didn't let him know we had issues with the bill. And the problem with this action was that we had a month, and something similar happened with with the SBCC bill. So the council did oppose the bill too late in the game. So I guess my proposal for this committee is to find a way, and this committee needs more authority to make decisions during the sessions, because it's too late. Our comments sometimes are too late. And the SBCC bill, for example, when we had the meeting in January, the bill was introduced, so we didn't know at the time. And the hearing at the House was during the council meeting, the last council meeting in February. Sorry, Jay, I'm done.
Yeah, go ahead, Jay.
Oh, just wanted to add that I found the chair's remarks really encouraging. She had said that she was pulling her striker, but she, mentioned the precedent-setting effects of the current bill language, and that she said she would work with the sponsor to make changes before it went before. So I found that positive.
Yeah, Jay, I think that was my take too. I happened to, run into the chair of the local government committee afterward, and there was a desire to understand this issue better. And I think that's also true with the minority leader, that it was, that there's just, and I think it might also characterize that, in 2018, when that bill was passed and moved into RCW, that was early on, even in model code, WUI model code, right? So, getting ahead of that was important, but I think there's now a need to better understand that the rulemaking process has happened and incorporated some of those changes. And I think there is, kind of an opportunity that the legislature can revisit how they want, if they still want that language in there now that rulemaking has happened. It's just all, you know, everything we know is just, it's going to take time to percolate and kind of work through on what is the best process for the WUI code.
So for me, I can reach out to the sponsor or sponsors, but for me, evaluating, you know, the bill, I don't know how this can be fixed again. That there is a language that was enacted in 2018, so now I'm not sure what I can propose in order to address the council's concerns specific to the new bill 6120.
Yeah, it might. Jay, do you still have a comment on this?
Sorry, no.
No, okay, that's okay. No, I think you're right. You know, my sense is it's, you know, likely too late for this session, but I think as we move into the normal cycle this year, you know, I think there's opportunity next session to really inform, you know, and work with the legislature and what, you know, understand the legislative intent and what the best process is for this next cycle. So maybe it doesn't happen this session, but I think the council's concerns were communicated. Okay, any other comment from the public or anything on this? Damon, I see you joined us. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm on the road here. Just to confirm, if the bill passes, does that put the WUI on hold until the maps are redrawn?
I believe so.
Okay, then that's how I understand it. I just thought I'd make sure I wasn't missing something.
Well, we need to follow up with our attorney, but I think this was the agreement that if this bill passes, we need an emergency rule to strike it, and then an off-cycle rule to adopt the strike it. It sounds terrible, but that is what we need to do. And then wait for DNR to develop the maps, and then another off-cycle rule to adopt whatever the bill is requiring the council to adopt.
Yep, it's going to be complicated. Okay, any other discussion on that? Go ahead, Stoyan. What do you think next? You want to talk about the 6291? That was pretty straightforward.
6291, yeah, it passed the let's see. There it is.
There were, as far as I could tell, there were no significant amendments.
No, it was referred to rules for review, and it was yesterday.
Oh, I think actually it was maybe Tuesday, the day I was there. They did take that executive session the day before the one we just talked about. So, but regardless, it's sitting in the rules now.
Yeah. So only one minor amendment happened, but it doesn't really change anything. I know Micah had some concerns with the language, and I now thought you had some concerns too. You know, when we discussed this, I pass everything to the sponsors or to the chairs of the committees that are reviewing the bills, and I know Wabo offered some amendments, but I don't see these amendments now.
And just to be clear, my only questions were related to how the nomination or the appointment process and you know, ultimately that'll be up to the governor to sort out with the trade associations and so forth. So, okay, any discussion? Questions? Okay. What do you think? 56, 57? That's a good one, Stoyan. Yeah.
56, 57 is the other one that the council opposed, although there is not a direct effect on the council business, but it was the original bill wasn't good. The substitute was better, but a little unclear. So what happened with this bill? It was scheduled for executive session, but no action was taken. And I need to double check what is happening with it. But if action wasn't taken, and it passed the cutoff date, I think it should be dead. But I'm not the.
Yeah. So on paper, this one's dead unless someone raises it as a fiscal consideration.
Yeah,
Right.
I will have the report ready this afternoon, so I'll double check what's happening with it.
So
And,
if it was raised in fiscal, then that would go to appropriations.
that's my
understanding.
understanding, but again, I'm not the best expert on this one.
But on paper, this one's dead for now. Okay.
There were some issues discussed at the council meeting with 1899, and here it is. So it's scheduled for public hearing in the Senate Committee of Ways and Means, which means it's another opportunity for the council to raise the concern. The concern was related to the propane. It's unclear language. I'm not sure how I can proceed with that. Reach out to the sponsors or.
So at this point, the current state of the bill, and I haven't reviewed it lately, does it state that there is an option for either the existing or the previous code? Is that how I understood it? For this very short time period, for this very specific area?
So
That's what I remember, unless it changed.
no, it changed. The original language got changed. Here it is for 1927. Each time I read it, I have different opinion on it. But Chill is a better.
Go ahead, Shell.
Yeah, I mean, my plain reading of it is that there's no restrictions on propane. So if you look at the words require additional energy efficiencies, restrict or prohibit, there's no prohibition, there's no restrictions on propane in the code. But there are additional energy efficiencies if you consider that there's 5 space heating types in the residential code. And type 2 is a heat pump with a backup, which could be electric resistance or gas. And type 4 is a heat pump that does not have a backup system associated with it. So my plain reading of this is that this would mean a system type 4 could have a gas backup on it. So it'd be basically, you build a system type 2, which is worth 1.5 credits, but you get credit for a system type 4, which is worth 3 credits. That's how I would read this bill. So you'd get basically 1.5 extra credits if you put in a heat pump as your primary and got a system type 2 or 4. You'd call it a 4, you'd build a 2, and you'd call it a 4.
Okay.
Since it's got such a narrow focus, I mean, do we really need to be concerned with it too much?
I don't really think it's going to, it sets a bizarre precedent, but I don't think it impedes, the advancement of energy efficiency in the state in a significant way. But my understanding is this is a grant program, right?
I believe so.
So if it's a grant program, why not I guess, yeah, if it's a grant program, why not build to the, the better efficiency? But I agree with you, Tom, that, it's not a huge deal.
Yeah, I think that's right, Tom. And don't you agree that I think everyone is obviously supportive of relief and assistance, in this case, and it's just kind of a weird. I think you said it right, Shell. It's just a weird precedent to do it this way rather than, try to establish a better, a better system and for the end user. But it's the prerogative of the legislature to do it. So
Even with it being a grant program, it stretches the dollars, of that grant money
sure.
because it would be less expensive to comply.
Maybe another way to ask a question here is, are there other examples where the legislature would come in and offer relief from the building code? I mean, I'm sure there are, but that's the part I struggle with, is kind of this spot relief from the codes.
Well, there was a similar bill back in California after Paradise burned down. They allowed, so I guess, the sponsors were trying to do something similar.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
So
that
I guess the
kinda-
precedent there said, go ahead, Tom. Yeah.
Oh, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, I guess the precedent is that in disaster relief, that this is, the will of the legislature to do this kind of thing, right? Is that fair?
That trickles all the way up to the federal government, I mean, because we were, in Whitman County, we had the Malden fire that kind of tore that whole town to the ground, and just like Paradise. And, now there's a Malden Act in the federal government to help at least get FEMA money rolling a little faster and whatnot. But, I mean, my personal thinking is, these people lost everything. If we can throw them a bone and just let it go, because it's so narrowly focused. If another one comes up with narrow focus again, that helps the people, I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to that either. As long as we don't write language, they don't write language that says, in the event that this type of thing occurs, we will allow that to happen, on a more broad scale. I mean, that's my personal opinion anyway, that I'd oppose that, but these narrow little tidbits, I think that it's
in
goodwill, if nothing else. And it doesn't affect life safety, at all. It's just energy.
I think those are all good points, Tom, and I think you're right. I just have technical questions on where that line is. Then is it, if someone in this type of zone were to say, and this is kind of coming up with the manufactured homes, right? Should manufactured homes that aren't hardened be allowed in a obvious wildfire area? And so just interesting where that kind of debate goes. But I think your point is well taken. Yeah. Okay. There's no action on this, right? You said it sits in the Ways and Means. So I mean, there is an opportunity, obviously, to.
There's a hearing on the 24th.
24, yeah. Okay, did we miss something? I think, 2071.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about this. So 2071 went through the same committee. No, I'm sorry, it went through Senate local government. I was just happened to, join just to watch it go through. This one got stripped quite a bit. All the parking tree debate got stripped. All of the passive house energy, it really, I'll characterize it in my understanding as more zoning kind of development standard allowance if someone were to come in and retrofit a building, or maybe build a new building. I can't remember, with the external insulation that encroached on dimensional standards like setbacks and so forth. So really out of the purview of building code. But so really what my understanding is, it's kind of left with the State Building Code Council, shall put the tag together to explore how this looks, up to 6 plexes or 6 units into the residential code, which, as we discussed as a group, is going to point a lot to other codes like the building code and the fire code and so forth. So it's that part seems that it's not really negotiable at this point. That's what's moving through there, that it will be an IRC consideration with, then there is some provision that was written in on how to address, the other code. So I think it gives enough freedom to the council to kind of help shape this in the study, but it still says shall on the residential code. Anyone else have a different interpretation of what's left? It seems very clear to me that's the momentum, that there's a desire, or I like I said, I don't know that I necessarily agree that this leads to more affordable housing if it's prescriptive, but that's kind of another debate.
Yeah, it's a difficult task to complete.
It's kind of weird in one way. I was just looking at number 2 in section 5, where the city or counties must allow a residential housing height limit to exceed by 8 inches if
I
it's
think,
for
sorry to cut you off, Tom.
insulation.
I think this was removed with the striker.
Yeah.
Oh,
All that external installation stuff, Tom, got.
Yeah, see, the striker
Removed.
doesn't have anything after section 3, so it was removed. 4 and 5 were removed.
oh, I didn't see the striker on the web. I just saw the second substitute.
Yeah, the striker is below, so when you
Oh, there it is. I got you. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Chair.
that one.
Yeah. Okay, so and as far as I can tell, then nothing else really changed in the IRC part of the section 1,
No.
and then the section 2 is more of the
nothing.
floor area. Yeah. Okay. Any other discussion on this? Okay, this sits in rules for the floor. Anything else, Stoyan, on the list of bills?
For the meeting, the council meeting in March, do you want me to put this discussion in the agenda? I know, Tom, you consider yourself a short timer, but you were chairing this committee for a long time. So I talked to Krista, and she said that the Ledge Committee had some authority before, and then it was, taken away a few years ago. But judging by experience, it seems like, if the council is too late with the position, we're making enemies, because if the sponsors, they are aware of the issues, then they may coordinate with us and propose a better language. But if the council opposes a bill 1 month later, then it creates other issues again, just judging by the experience I have with 6120.
Yeah, and I think whether this session is kind of cooked, but I think maybe if we can have the discussion, whether it's next session or next meeting or beyond, it's irrelevant timing. I think Jay, I'll hand it to you in a second here. The challenge is if we don't have the committee or some other group to discuss this with, then it puts at risk that individuals are making decisions, and trying to interpret the will of the council, right? And it really limits the ability to be flexible and have the discussions with the committee staffs and legislature and so forth. So Jay, go ahead, please.
Yeah, and the way that other organizations have handled this, we might consider is in the fall developing a legislative agenda or a set of principles that the whole council adopts and gives the committee the authority to support or oppose bills based on those particular principles. And that'd be a way to both have the council involved on what's important, but also give this committee the authority to move quickly during the session.
Yeah, I think that I agree, Jay. That's pretty standard with governmental or even other organizations, and that is the kind of, I don't want to call it cover. It's just we want to avoid the perception that any individuals are making decisions, and rather have something to guide us, and then a committee to review and then report back to the council.
Krista, are you there?
Yes.
Can you touch a little bit on the procedure before when the committee had some authority?
They would set a kind of interim position on a bill and would make recommendations to the council on what would be testified on. To a limited extent, the committee would designate somebody to speak on something if there was an imminent need and a meeting or a hearing coming up in the next couple of days. But for the most part, we didn't take a lot of action other than stating a position, support, concern, etc. on a bill.
Yeah, and I think a good example is the WUI code. It's that could be a simple position to inform legislature as they're developing bills in the fall, that of how the rulemaking process has worked and which areas, because I think bringing it up at the very last minute that there's concern about how the amendment process would work. The legislative intent is very clear of what they're trying to achieve, but the rulemaking process could have been informed in December, for example.
The way the Association of Counties does it, I mean, they've got a group similar to this. They've got one representative from each of the counties on the legislative steering committee, and they're after the legislative priorities are developed in the fall, based on what people are hearing about what's going to come down. The legislative steering committee kind of has the authority to act on the county's behalf. As far as testimony and positions and all that, but even it's the same with AWB. I mean, they kind of get the consensus of the broader groups by keeping everybody in the loop. The counties have a weekly boil down session with all of the county commissioners and county councilmen and whatnot. Just to keep everybody praised, and then if anybody's got any real concerns with the direction the committee's going, of course, or they don't think they're giving enough weight to a certain aspect of something, then people will pipe up and then it'll steer that a little bit. But it needs to be nimble to be effective, right? Because otherwise you just kind of get caught up in your own rules and regulations and you never get anything accomplished. So
Yeah, and we've had, we advise on how to, on what we think the legislators should know from a technical perspective. But it sounds like sometimes that's effective, and sometimes it's only effective when the council actually makes a motion to oppose a bill for certain reasons that the legislators actually hear what we're saying. And I guess that's maybe a challenge because the council doesn't meet very often. And to your point, Tom, often there's some priorities, and there's a few priorities, and then there's a lot of kind of defense, which is, all right, this is really poorly written from our unique perspective as council members, and that requires nimbleness, and that's, I guess, where we lack authority, other than having Stoyan go talk to the legislator about, hey, this word needs to change, or this, phrase is just, not going to work for us.
So far, the legislators they've been listening. But I testify as other if there is not the council position, so I can raise the concerns. But there are also bills that I just don't understand. I don't have an opinion. Well, I do, but I don't know what I can offer. And without help from the Ledge Committee, I just don't know how to provide the testimony. And if we are waiting for the council, then it's a too long period of not providing anything. Yeah.
So can we do an advisory position or something that's not like an unofficial, semi-official, like, position? Is that what would help, Sion?
I don't know. I mean, this is why I was thinking about, raising the issue before the council and see, what other council members will think about it. One person going to testify, of course, we all have opinions, but that doesn't mean the opinion is acceptable for the council, or even, providing technical expertise. It doesn't mean the expertise is okay. So I've had situations like, the sponsor reaches out and asks me a specific question, and then I do have my opinion, but I don't know if the council will back me up on that. And I have like 2 minutes to say something. So, if we establish a better process that will allow me to reach out to the committee and get some direction from the committee instead of waiting for the council, I think it will help. I'm not a shy person. I like sharing my opinion, but again, it doesn't mean my opinion always aligns with what the council wants to do.
But you couldn't just email the committee and have the committee
Well, this is
respond,
what
because that would not be a public meeting, right?
well, but it's easier to schedule a Ledge Committee meeting versus call a special council meeting.
Yeah, I think there's probably concern with, having, if there's, 5 council members on the legislative committee, it may be concerning to some to have, 3-2 vote that we should take a position on something, and only 3 council members have voted to take a position. But if we said, maybe a 2/3 majority of the legislative committee needed to agree or unanimous perhaps before we would take a legislative committee position on something, that seems like that would be a high enough bar that it would be reasonable to me.
Yeah, Shell, I would say, I think taking a pro or con on a bill actually should be pretty rare and only be done by the whole council. I think this is a little more nuanced in that, in the processes of informing, and I'll use the WUI code as an example, showing what this looks like when we're raising the question of policy making versus rulemaking, and what is their asking the question of what is their legislative intent? Do they want to? They have the ability to. Do they want to, put building codes directly in RCW or in WAC, but then to show them a striker where you wipe out, legislative action from 2018, like as an example, and then help inform and talk through what the consequences of that, are and could be. That's where it's individuals start to feel a little exposed, because we're trying to show scenarios that they can consider, but not necessarily something that's been fully vetted by the council, right? To recommend striking, that section. Although that's what's needed to kind of help the legislators understand
Yeah, I
the
guess
approach.
if Stoyan is looking for an interim, something between Stoyan thinks XYZ about a bill and the full council's voted, that's kind of what I feel like he's looking for. And I don't know what that is, but yeah.
My testimony, if I don't have a direction, my testimony is other. We are neutral because we don't have a council position. It works most of the time, but you know, again, 6120 is a good example because it was an important bill, and I think we started good with providing the testimony, and I provided written testimony, which was similar to Todd's, and Micah is here. Thank you, Micah, for helping with that. And we submitted amendments again, but when I started getting the questions, I didn't know how to respond because I didn't. So I was communicating, you know, with Micah, Todd, and Damon, just to get some feedback, but it put me in a situation that
They want to know by the next day. They're taking action in 24 hours, and they want to know.
well, it was like 10 minutes
Yeah.
one the conversation, and I say, hey, this is what I think, but I didn't talk to him. I didn't talk to anybody. So anyway, I just wanted to put it on the table for discussion, and if you
Good
feel
forum for it.
it's necessary, then I can have it. You know, we can spend 15-20 minutes at the next council meeting.
Okay.
And we have time because, again, the session will be done on March 7th, and we have time, but just to start the conversation. It doesn't need to be in March, but if you agree that we need to discuss this, I can find.
I think it's really timely myself.
Yeah. I think, well, it's fresh in our minds too, right? Let's pose it to Damon as chair and see if he wants to include it on the agenda.
Okay.
Okay. And then it's Tom's lead.
What's that?
I said, then it's over to you, Tom.
No. Yeah. Well, you'll be a hard act to follow. I'll probably
Oh, I
call
appreciate that. Okay, well, anything else? Any other bills or anything other business that this committee wants to discuss? Otherwise, thank you, everyone. I think we can adjourn.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
See ya.